Picture this. You're at the pinnacle of your career. Thousands of eyes watching your every move. The crowd roaring. Your heart pounding with adrenaline. Then suddenly, among those thousands of faces, you see the one person you never wanted to see again. The person who broke your heart. The person who promised to stay away. Your racket trembles in your hand. Your vision blurs with tears. In that moment, nothing else matters. Not the match, not the prize money, not your ranking. This is the story of Karolina Muchová. And how one devastating moment changed everything. The Arthur Ashe Stadium fell silent. 23,000 spectators watched as the 27-year-old Czech tennis star suddenly stopped mid-serve. Her shoulders began to shake. Tears streamed down her face. What happened next would become one of the most talked-about moments in tennis history, but to understand this moment, we need to go back. Back to where it all began for Karolina. Born in Olomouc, Czech Republic, Karolina wasn't born into tennis royalty. Her parents were ordinary people with extraordinary dreams for their daughter. Her mother worked double shifts to pay for tennis lessons. Her father drove hours to tournaments, sleeping in the car to save money on hotels. Every sacrifice my parents made was for me, Karolina once said in an interview. I carried that weight on my shoulders every single day. By age 16, Karolina was already turning heads in junior tournaments. Her powerful backhand and graceful movement caught the attention of scouts worldwide. But success came with a price. The teenage years were brutal. Training 12 hours a day, missing proms, missing birthdays, missing the simple joys of being young. While her friends were falling in love and making memories, Karolina was chasing a dream that seemed impossible. Sometimes I wondered if it was worth it, she admitted years later. I was lonely. I was exhausted, but quitting wasn't an option. Too many people were counting on me. The breakthrough came at 23. Her first WTA title. The emotions were overwhelming. She called her parents immediately after the match, sobbing into the phone. We did it, Mama. We actually did it. But success brought new challenges. Suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of Karolina. Muchová sponsors, media coaches promising the world. And then there was David. David Novak wasn't from the tennis world. He was a businessman from Prague. Charming, sophisticated, everything Karolina thought she wanted in a partner. They met at a charity gala in 2019. Karolina was immediately smitten. He made me feel normal, she told her best friend. Like I was just Karolina, not the tennis player. Their romance was a fairy tale. Private jets to romantic destinations. Surprise visits during tournaments. David seemed to understand the pressures of her career. He was supportive, caring, perfect, or so it seemed. The first red flag came during the 2021 French Open. Karolina was having the tournament of her life. She reached the semifinals for the first time. The whole Czech Republic was watching, but David wasn't. He was photographed at a nightclub in Monaco with another woman. The tabloids had a field day. Tennis star's boyfriend cheats during career-high moment. Karolina was devastated. She lost the semi-final in straight sets, but David had an explanation. It was business. The woman was a client. The photos were taken out of context. I wanted to believe him so badly, Karolina later confessed. I needed to believe him. They stayed together, but the trust was cracked. Karolina's game suffered. Her ranking dropped. The pressure from her team was immense. Focus on tennis, they said. Relationships can wait. But love doesn't follow schedules. The relationship became a roller coaster. Good days and terrible days. David was possessive, controlling. He didn't like her traveling without him. He criticized her coaches, her friends, her family. He isolated. Me from everyone I cared about, Karolina would reveal much later. I didn't even realize it was happening. The breaking point came in 2022. Karolina discovered David had been lying about more than just business meetings. There were other women, multiple affairs, financial dealings that involved her money without her knowledge. The confrontation was explosive. "How could you do this to me?" she screamed. "I gave you everything." David's response was cold, calculated. "You were never around anyway. Always traveling. Always choosing tennis over us." The breakup was messy, public, humiliating. David sold stories to tabloids. Intimate details of their relationship became front-page news across Europe. Karolina retreated from public life for months. Her ranking plummeted. Sponsors questioned her commitment. The tennis world wondered if she would ever recover. "I felt like my world had ended," she admitted in a rare interview during this period. "I didn't know who I was without tennis, and I didn't know who I was without him." But champions are built differently. With the support of her family and a new team, Karolina began the slow climb back. Therapy sessions, meditation, rediscovering her love for the game. The comeback began at smaller tournaments, slowly building confidence, match by match, point by point. The fire was returning to her eyes. By 2023, she was back in the top 10. The tennis world celebrated her resilience. The Phoenix Rises read headlines worldwide. Then came the U.S. Open 2024. Karolina's best shot at a Grand Slam title. She was seeded 8th. Her form was exceptional. Everything seemed aligned for her fairy tale ending. The first week was flawless. Straight-set victories, dominant performances. The crowd at Flushing Meadows fell in love with her fighting spirit. As she prepared for her 4th-round match, Karolina felt invincible. 3 years of pain and rehabilitation had led to this moment. She was ready, but David had other plans. Despite the restraining order, despite the legal agreements, despite everything they'd been through, he was there. Section 142, Row F, Seat 18. Karolina spotted him during her pre-match warm-up. At first, she thought she was seeing things, the trauma playing tricks on her mind. But no, it was really him, wearing sunglasses, trying to blend in. But she would recognize that face anywhere. The face that had haunted her dreams and nightmares for years. "He knows he's not supposed to be here," Karolina whispered to her coach during the changeover. "He's doing this on purpose." Her coach tried to calm her down. "Focus on the match. Don't let him win." But the damage was done. Every serve reminded her of his presence. Every point felt like a battle, not just with her opponent, but with her past. The tears started during the second set. Small at first, then uncontrollable. The crowd didn't understand. The commentators were confused. This is highly unusual behavior. For Muchová, but for Karolina, it wasn't about the tennis anymore. It was about survival, about protecting the progress she'd made, about not letting him destroy her again. She called for a medical timeout. The tears wouldn't stop. Her hands were shaking. Security was alerted about David's presence. "I can't do this," she told the tournament referee. "He's here. He's not supposed to be here." The decision to withdraw from the match was heartbreaking. Years of preparation, millions of fans watching. Her best chance at Grand Slam glory, gone. In an instant. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. As Karolina left the court, the crowd gave her a standing ovation. They didn't know the full story, but they knew they were witnessing something profound. A human being choosing mental health over everything else. The aftermath was swift. David was escorted from the premises. Legal action was threatened. The tennis world rallied around Karolina like never before. Fellow players shared their own stories of toxic relationships. Mental health advocates praised her courage. Young girls saw that it's okay to prioritize your well-being over expectations. Today wasn't about tennis, Karolina said in her post-match interview, tears still fresh on her cheeks. Today was about showing that some boundaries are more important than any tournament. The response was overwhelming. Messages of support flooded in from around the world. Fellow athletes, celebrities, ordinary people who had experienced similar trauma. Serena Williams tweeted, "This is what real strength looks like. Proud of you, Karolina." Naomi Osaka wrote, "Sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do." But perhaps the most meaningful message came from her mother. "Win or lose, you're still my champion." In the weeks that followed, Karolina became an unexpected advocate for domestic abuse awareness. Her story resonated with millions who had experienced similar manipulation and control. She partnered with organizations supporting survivors, shared her story at conferences, used her platform for something bigger than tennis. "If my pain can help even one person recognize the signs of an unhealthy relationship," she said, "then everything I went through was worth it." The tennis comeback is still being written. Karolina continues to compete at the highest level. She hasn't won that elusive Grand Slam yet. But she's won something more valuable: her freedom, her voice, her power to choose. The 2024 U.S. Open will be remembered for many things: great matches, stunning upsets, rising stars, but for those who witnessed Karolina Muchová's courage that day, it will be remembered as the moment a champion chose herself over everything else. And sometimes, that's the most important victory of all. In a world where athletes are expected to be superhuman, Karolina showed us something revolutionary: that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have limits. It's okay to say enough. Story continues to inspire not just athletes, but anyone who has ever felt trapped by their past. Anyone who has struggled to rebuild after betrayal. Anyone who has chosen the difficult path of healing over the easier path of pretending everything is fine. Today, Karolina Muchová is ranked in the world's top 20. She's single, she's focused. She's surrounded by people who genuinely care about her well-being. And David, he's facing legal consequences for violating the restraining order. His business dealings are under investigation. The man who once tried to control a champion's life is now struggling to control his own. Justice, it seems, has its own perfect timing. As for that Grand Slam title, Karolina knows it will come when the time is right. She's no longer chasing it out of desperation or obligation. She's pursuing it from a place of love. Love for the game, love for herself, love for the journey. "I used to think my worth was measured by wins and losses," she reflected recently. "Now I know it's measured by how true I stay to myself." That's a lesson worth learning. Whether you're a professional athlete or someone just trying to navigate life's challenges. Because in the end, we're all playing our own matches. We all face our own crowds. We all have moments when the past threatens to derail our future. But like Karolina Muchová showed us that day at the U.S. Open, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop the match, acknowledge the pain, and choose healing over everything else. That's not just champion behavior. That's human behavior at its finest. What would you have done in her situation? How do we support the people in our lives who are fighting battles we can't see? These are questions worth asking as we follow Karolina's ongoing journey. Because her story isn't over. It's just beginning. If this story moved you, make sure to subscribe for more untold stories from the world of sports. Sometimes the most powerful moments happen off the court, but they shape everything that happens on it.